What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris, aka the Water King, coming at you for another Duel Bros video. And I am excited for today because we are going over my water tower deck breakdown. It is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, now, of course, I do have to preface this with I did miscount, and so I should have added one more water page in here, and then it would have been legal. I did make day 2 with this deck, but because of that mistake, I had to get dropped. And it was missed by the judge and it was missed by me, but we're all good. We're moving forward. If you want like a larger explanation on that, I did a video previous on that, but we are about to get into the deck breakdown. It is played phenomenal. Okay, so my goal was to just rush you and play as aggressively as possible and catch you off guard, and then adjust to what my opponent had game 2 and game 3. And so right before the tournament, I think it was like maybe a couple of days, maybe a day before the tournament, a big ruling about bait robbers had come out, like or the official ruling, I guess I should just say. And so that kind of switched things up about there was a lot of ambiguity. I know from people whether it would flip the trap or not. If you attack somebody, does it do the damage? There was all those parameters, and they cleared that up the day before. So I was really able to use bait robbers to stop other people's bait robbers. I just kind of used them as a meat shield and cannon fodder in a way to flip traps safely, because it's a 1-drop, and I don't really care about that beastie. So using it a lot that way kind of allowed me to have some wiggle room. Before I get into the deck, I do wish that I had 2 or 3 more Uglugs, and then 2 Uglugs in the side deck. I ordered some Uglugs, and they were coming from Canada, and they just didn't arrive. I ordered them like maybe 40 days in advance. I thought that would be enough time, and then I just didn't feel like buying release event boxes until I got one. And by the time I got to the point where I really needed them, and I was like, oh shit, I just couldn't find any. So a lot of people talked to me like I was crazy, so I ended up playing Mailman. I'll get into that when we get to the Mailman card. But without further ado, let's get into this. Now, I decided to go with 12 water aura instead of Aurifacts. Aurifacts were very, very popular, and looking back on it, I probably would take out a water aura page for 1 mermaid scales, just because as you guys, I drew it with River of Time to be okay. I was pretty consistent with aura all day long. That's why I love running 12 aura, is just because it really helps you just make sure you keep playing aura, because it's really, really big with water. You have to ramp up, and especially with this specific deck. Now, there was a lot of luck and variance involved in this tournament. This is not a regular water tournament. I would not normally use Uglug. I would not normally use bait robbers. Pretty much everything else would be okay. I wouldn't main deck River of Time without River, of course. But all the terras were active, so you got 3-time terra bonus, and it was essentially all day. Who could get their chesses out for an OTK for the best moment. A lot of people were just choosing different strategies of how to get that, and I think that was the move. At least that was all the people I played. There's plenty of other people, and then I didn't really get to watch any of the stream matches because I was playing. But so basically what I decided to do, I figured all that was going to go on, so I figured I would just be aggressive. I would chip you down with water babies, and then because I didn't have Uglug, I would get chesses with Mailmen. And because my aura was so consistent, I had the 12 aura. I mixed and matched it, just because it bothers some people. But I am trying to get the full set of hollow aura. Don't worry, I will bling that out eventually. Okay, so we'll get into this, right? So like the water babies, Because of the uh, terra bonuses being activated, triple terra bonuses, these guys were hitting for 90. So when you're up 90, paralyzed, I don't see a reason why not to run it, right? I think at the end of the day, I think I probably would have done better with Orphax. And at 45 cards, because at 45 cards, after doing the proper math, I could have ran more non-water pages with Orphax and maybe 10 Aura. I was just so scared of going Aura Dry. If any of you guys have ever gone Aura Dry in a tournament at like a bad spot, it just feels the worst. And so I only had that once to me, and that's variance, and that's okay. So now let's get into Loveland Mailman. Okay, so Mailman is a great card. I know a lot of people didn't use Mailman because of Ugwug. But you know what Ugwug wouldn't do? Ugwug wouldn't kill a Chessie. And a lot of times I would win because a Mailman would hit their Chessie, confuse it. They would hit themselves, the Chessie would die, and then I would have an open beastie, normally a baby, to attack directly instead of having to deal the damage to the Chessie. And the other thing about Mailman is he is unblockable. So if you have a stupid pesky bait robbers up, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to still attack, and it is going to go through. And then the move for a lot of people in the day was to play bait robbers and then play a trap under it. I think I only had one opponent do that on turn one, and then like lightning in a bottle and try to draw, and then the next turn, I played a baby, flip the trap, and that combat went how it went. But even though I know a lot of people probably were against this card that didn't have mailmans, I actually enjoyed the fact that I had my mailmans. I'm very good at being able to use the confusion and pick and choose when to do it. I know not to waste it on a Waddle Lake Station. Chessies were just hitting for so much. Because I wasn't able to get the rest of my Ugbugs, I just had faith in the variance of rolling for the confusion rolls, and it really helped a lot. And even sometimes I would confuse a crab, not sometimes, but in testing sometimes. But I only had to do it once in the day, where I actually did confuse a crab, just in the hopes that it would hit itself, and or that it wouldn't hit itself, and then when I attacked with something else, it would hit itself, so that I could, and it paralyzed itself, and then I could kill it. So that was like a very combo-y. Like, I was obviously, if I was trying to do that, I was in a very tough spot. I can't remember exactly what game that was. It was 8 rounds. It was a really long day, but Mailman ended up being okay. Couldn't play them recklessly, of course, but I was able to get the job done with these guys very, very nicely. And now, of course, we move on to Frogman. Now, let me be honest. I did not really get into the newest Christmas set that much, so I didn't know about the ornament card. And when I found out about it, when I saw people playing it, I was just like, huh. I probably would not have. I just kind of skipped over the New Year set. I didn't really any of the pages, but had I known it, I probably would have had it in the side deck, but not in the main deck. Just here's the deal. I don't like that card, and I mean, I like it and I don't like it. I like it because you can bookmark, and it's good as like a rebuttal if they play Frog. But man, I New Year's everybody who played it against me. Like every time they did it, once I saw that card was being played by a lot of people, I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna save my New Year's. And that's what I would do. I would save my New Year, they would play that card, and then I would just be like, bam, alright, cool. Because most people would just do it early instead of waiting to do it until I played my Frog, or waiting until they could play that and then get Frog out, and then like River of Time or something. It is what it is. I don't know what hands they had, of course, but but yeah, that ornament didn't necessarily work out against me. It probably wasn't necessarily meant for my deck because it really wasn't as effective. But as for like the trap deck that would probably try to rush frog and get a trap out, that was probably really good. I on myself was holding my frogs necessarily, unless I felt like I could just fully get ahead and then start drawing ahead of you. That was ideal, but otherwise I was using frogs mainly to just make your traps useless. Like when I would go against trap decks, they would play a trap and then I would just frog them, just bam, 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 frog them, and then I don't even have to bother going with that trap. And so it was just really effective, and you can just make like half their deck useless, right? Because they're probably doing a lot of traps. And then most of the time, anytime you would attack, it would be another bait robbers, and that is why I put bait robbers in my deck. One for a meat shell for frog, because the meat shell for frog thing was just humongous. They had 115 health with the terra bonuses being tripled, and you can redirect combat to another beast stage. I didn't even really use that hardly, except if someone frogged my crab. I would use these guys to redirect combat to my crab, and then my crab would no longer be asleep, go into combat, and then it would just roll for confusion, and then it would hit itself, and then you would just roll for paralyzed. As long as it hit paralyzed, and bam, you got your crab back. It was a good big brain move. And then of course the other thing I did was I would attack their bait robbers with my bait robbers every time. Just every time I would just do it. Flip the trap, didn't matter what it was. Bloody bones wouldn't kill this thing. That was a lot of people's interest to babies, and then I would just play this and I would just go bam. Okay, so let's take out that trap. Bloody bones right there. Fatigue for the turn, 90 damage, and then I would just strategically because after Bloody Bones flips, it doesn't get the first strike anymore, so it's not quite as scary. And you can paralyze it. It has 195 health. I'll just play Chessie and get rid of it, and then we can continue on with our day. Or if it's normally I saw Bandage being game 2 because most people weren't prepared for babies game 1 because they were playing babies, and then they would switch into their Bandage Man. And so I would just play Ultima Ha. Also, I would switch in Ultima Ha for a couple of cards, and then I would just go around the Bandage Man, and then eventually just the Chessie would do so much damage, even if you blocked with a Bandage Man, it wouldn't matter. So that was why I played the bait robbers. And then we got the 2 Ugwugs. Of course, as I spoke earlier, I would love to play with 2 or 3 more of these, but my teammate Anish felt like he only needed 4, and he let me use his 2 Ugwugs. And I'm probably going to give them back to him after this deck breakdown because I don't really need them anymore. But they were great, and I wish I had a few more. They had 95 LP and did 70 damage for the event, so it was very, very strong. Kill frog. You have scuba gear as your item. They come in awakened, and I mean, man, it kills mailman, and that's why a lot of people just felt like mailman was obsolete, is because for rightful so, it does double damage and everything, and it did fit my game plan. I did wish I had more because he would have done 70 more damage to the mailman. But the one thing I will say was the unblockable. The unblockable with mailman was very, very, very strong. Almost because I think just because of the unexpected factor. I think just because people just assumed people were just going to be running Ugwugs, and that was it. They wouldn't have to worry about mailman. But no, my mailman really came in handy, and it surprised everybody, caught everybody off guard, and caused people to hold hands that they didn't need to hold, that they shouldn't have held. And I would like New Year's or whatever. It was very, very, the variety I had for my deck really worked in my favor, only because I practiced so much. And me and Anish really did a good job, I think, of going back and forth and figuring that out. And then USO, I predicted correctly that no one would prepare for USO. People overlook this part. You can draw. If the Terra is out, which normally is the case, in my normal water deck, you can dive, and it goes out of the arena, removes the damage, comes back into the arena. It is a great card to awaken, and you can defend. You don't necessarily need to have a triple Terra bonus for this card to be good. This card is just good. It's flying, and most people didn't use any flying beasties because mana was not that good. Flying mana rate was not that good for this event. If you're getting to 5 aura, I'm trying to have 1 by then, to be honest. So that, I mean, I don't know what I can say. What else I can say for this specific event at 105 health and 90 damage. Very very strong. It fit well, and it being safe with like being a flying beastie. Oftentimes, people would just fully swing, and so I was just being able to free choose what I wanted to do with this, whether it was bookmark with dive power, or whether it was just attacking for more chip damage. Um, and that was just my goal, because with getting more chip damage, it freed up my lightning in a bottles, and most of the time I would only have to play one chessie for a lightning in a bottle to win the game, and I was able to use my other lightning in a bottles with frog. And crab is very very powerful. The other thing I would have did is I wish I probably would have. I don't know. I don't know. I actually I think two crabs for the main deck was fine. Maybe I maybe should have had that second crab in the side deck so I could swap into four. Crab was just so strong. I predicted it to be very strong. I should have just went with my gut and just assumed it was going to be even stronger. Um, just because the regen, the stone skin, the paralyze, the half damage. Crab is such a complicated card, and then it's hitting for 100. And you had to do 230 damage to it without it being like paralyzed, or without doing like 200 or whatever or something like that. It was crazy how strong this beastie was for this event. And it's just a tank. Now Chessie would still pop it, and that is why I think I just did two, is because Chessie would still easily pop it, and you would always see early Chessies. I did not run Rice for Alt 1 because Rice just has to be in the arena for Ultimaha, and everybody had Rice. So I was just like, I'll use these four instead of having Rice as one of mine. And Ultimaha still didn't kill crab. That's one of the reasons why I like Ultimaha in the regular format, is because it will kill crab without lake out, but with river out, and it is phenomenal. But with this format, with Rice or without Rice, it still didn't kill crab. Its main feature was to just do chip damage past all defenders with its invisibility, because river was being active. And now of course we got the big boy Chessie. A lot of people were denying Chessies. I figured that would happen, so I wanted to draw more. One of the reasons why I played three Chessies is so that better possibility. When you play one, you can draw into a lightning in a bottle for game. That happened quite a few times for me. I would have played a fourth one if I just wasn't afraid of just having a handful of Chessies all the time, because if you didn't want to play Chessie right off the bat, you would want to get some chip damage. At least my strategy, you would want to get some chip damage in, and then just go for like 2 or 3 lighting in bottles. And that was honestly, it really worked. It did. At least game 1 it always worked, and some people were able to adjust for game 2, but I also would try wacky ideas for game 2 just to throw people off. I would do weird things like play my invisibilities to make people think I was trying to go spelly. I'd play invisibility in the tower, then go super defensive, make people think they would need dampens, so that they would throw their dampens in there and not really be needed. I would play Bloody Bones, take out babies, and throw back babies in for game 3. I would go from full offense to full defense. I would do really, really weird things that I knew I could still win with, but essentially I would just really would just try to reverse it on them and make them guess. And then game 3 I would just come out with more just the same aggression I had in game 1, and it would be like crap. And because they were expecting me to be slower, they would have dampens and stuff like that in their hand, and they'd be leaving 2 aura up. And if you were to leave aura up, well, I didn't leave aura up, then you're in trouble, because that means probably next time I'm doing big damage to you, whether you like it or not. But yeah, so the Chessies were strong. 160 damage because of the triple damage bonus if that was just them and just them on the field. But you normally need 4 water pages. So say your opponent played nothing, but you played a water aura every turn, and then you played a Chessie on that 4th turn, Chessie would be swinging for 200. That is so strong. Okay, so so that's why I had 5 lightning in a bottle, and I had to cut a lightning in a bottle. But as I stated in my day 2 explanation video, I should have added a water page in as well as taking a lightning in a bottle out. But that's why I should have took an aura out and put in a mermaid scales. That would have allowed me to, I think, also run that 5th lightning in a bottle. But Manaya, what can we say about Manaya? It's a hand trap. It's phenomenal. Shout out. I don't know exactly who it was, but I heard about a cool play someone played Manaya because it's a flying beastie, and it was doing 90 damage, or yeah, no, it was doing 90 damage for the event, and they power bred Manaya. And so, what are you gonna do? You're gonna Manaya my Manaya? It's that was cool. That was a cool play I heard about. Um, I would just Manaya like a frog, and then New Year's, or or if I would just stop like an Ultima Hop from attacking for a turn. So I didn't really draw Manaya as much as I normally do, and that's okay. But because it was a real swingy format. But yeah, no, Manaya, of course, you can't complain. Control all water pages, and then just bam, just go back to the hand, and this baby goes to the cemetery. And now we got River of Time. What to say about River of Time? Heard so many people complaining about this card for the format, and it kind of was busted. Not kind of, it was busted because River is active, so you just pay one aura, and this is and then you could play it. I mean, it's already busted with River. If you play River and if you play a River deck, it's already annoying to go against. But someone being able to play an aura, River of Time, and then turn 2 play another aura, and like Frog, and before you can even play an aura, is very very discouraging. I normally I try to use this as a lightning in a bottle. I really just used it whenever I could. The 2 times I didn't use it whenever I could, I ended up losing the matches, and then we get New Year's away. So yeah, everybody was just pretty much using it as early as I could, and that's what I ended up doing. Yeah, sometimes it would come to who got the River of Time, and into like a New Year's, or like 4 lightning in a bottle. So it was crazy. But yeah, being able to take an extra turn is just really, really, really strong. And then of course we got New Year's. As you can see, I have multiples of everything on my deck except USO, and USO was really just icing on the cake. And I just really I always feel that this card is just so strong. Like, you can empty your hand, and then just New Year's, and then with me being so aggressive, they would have to aura and mostly tap their aura to keep up with me, and then I would just safely be able to New Year's whenever. It was really a good card, it always is. And then of course, lightning in a balls. What can you say? Chelsea was hitting for so much. He always on lightning in a balls for Frog with the water deck. It's just a superb card. One of the best cards I've ever printed in the first set. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think this card needs to be explained that much more. But yeah, so now we got the side deck. I had my Mishu Peshus. Never really had these to come into play. I would only do them for certain situations, but I just really never felt like I needed them. I really only touched the Tower, Ultima, and Bloody Bones, and the Laker Station. Very few times did I touch any of the other cards. I won using the other cards, but the most effective things that I would do was just swap in the Tower if someone was crab heavy, or put in Ultima if they were Banished Man heavy, or if they were Baby heavy and Ugwug heavy and stuff. I would just play my third Wallawa Laker Station. Mishu Peshu is so strong, especially for like a trap deck. You just lay more traps down to get those cards out of your hand, and then you can play Mishu Peshu and draw. Very, very, very good card. It was hitting for 150. Has first strike as a trap. It's just, yeah. It was just situational. 2. Would I've ever actually sided into? Probably not. To be honest, I think 1 would be enough. It would just be like a surprise. Because to be honest, if someone had something on the field to deal with 1 Mishu Peshu, they would be able to deal with the second one. So really just using it as a surprise once probably would have been the move, if I did end up using it. And then of course Ultima, the invisibility is just so broken. Hit for 190 with that River Triple Terra bonus. Gets the water type advantage, so if you hit a beastie it would be 210. Yeah, with Rice of course. And it's just very, very good card. I love it. I loved it before the water tower, and I love it now. So I don't really have much else to say about that. Card. It's pretty straightforward. If it didn't have the invisibility with River, it would be kind of a basic chessy, but that invisibility is very, very strong. And then of course invisibility. So the idea was, you could River of Time, and then if you weren't able to get the kill shot with that River of Time, you could invisibility your Chessie, and then it would ideally survive until the next turn, if they didn't, of course, like frog or anything like that, because Chessie would just pop whatever normally and still do a major amount of damage. So they did win me a couple of games, but it wasn't something that I really felt like I needed to do. I didn't really. That was more if I felt like I needed to pull some trickery, and I didn't really need to. Really didn't need to do much. A lot of people just really weren't ready for full-on aggression, if I'm just being honest. And that's what I kind of hoped, but it could have easily backfired. My deck was a high risk, high reward type of thing. I had 2 dampens, never even had to touch them, never even thought about it. I never played beasties in a way where the tower could effectively hit me. I would never have 4 bait robbers on the field. I would never play both of my Wall of a Lake crustaceans. So you couldn't like choose either option and really get good use for 4 aura, because I would either have a mix and match on the field, and so you can do the place 2 beasties and be gone, but I mean I would still have like 4 other beasties, and you just wasted 4 aura. So unless we're like turn 10, then you're not playing more beasties really. And then in the other scenario, if you just reduce all the health, and unless you had a field to kill my other stuff that did no damage, that really wouldn't do anything, because I would never play more than 1 crab, like I said earlier, more than 1 Ugwug, or more than like a couple of bait robbers. I just tried to keep my hand that way, had more ammunition, because you always draw and stuff. And I was never really afraid of the New Year's, because most people that New Year's me beats because they were in a bad spot and they really needed the New Year's. And then like I just literally talked about the tower. You can play it whenever while at the tower. If the opposing caster controls more beasties than you, place 2 beasties under their control into their chapter. That means you could have done frog, but it's place, it's not target. And then, of course, the other one is the all terra bonuses. LP are considered loss instead of gain, because of the triple terra bonus that really screwed over a lot of beasties like crab and stuff like that. So that's why I just always kept a variety. If beasties had health bonuses, I made sure I didn't play them if I had already had one on the field. Of course, the 3rd crab in my deck, I'm not going to really talk that much more about crab. Crab is just so strong, will always be strong, and that's that. And Bloody Bones, but a lot of people debate about Bloody Bones. The Bloody Bones attack effect is so strong, and that fear really saved me a lot, and it did 85 damage, and it had 110 health with the triple terra bonus. So it's a very, very strong. And then scared, every once in a while you get a good roll on scared, and it is what it is on that. I really, really enjoyed it. Anish really was the one that pushed me to use it. Once I started practicing with it, I really got used to using its mechanic of revealing the top page and then contracting it or not. I necessarily didn't get this combo, but I saw a few people get this combo off with the River of Time and really save their butt. It was a good card for the event, and going forward, it might even be a good card in certain scenarios. You never know what comes out later, if like trap decks are going to be good. If you do create a water trap deck, I highly recommend Bloody Bones, at least in the side deck. It was really fun. And then the last 2 cards were by Banishment. Now, I never really sided him in. I sided him in a couple of times. Didn't really like it. I was liking to go fast. All right, I wanted to go fast. If you ain't first, you're last. That's what I was trying to hit. And only a few times, like in game 2s, when I didn't really care, because I knew game 3 I was going to go first, and I just had a phenomenal. I would always get phenomenal head starts. That's just one thing you got to do when you play an aggressive deck. You just got to be confident in it. And so, yeah, that's it. I have the image up here. This video is kind of long, so go to our Instagram and you'll be able to see just the image by itself. But that's it. Unfortunately, I did my math wrong. I should have had 1 less water. I should have added another water page after I took out that 5th lightning in a bottle. And as I said earlier, I wish I would have, ideally, for it to fit my plan the best, probably do 11 water aura and a mermaid scales. or just add a mermaid skeleton, I think would have been fine. But yeah, it is what it is. I had a lot of fun. I proved myself to get to day 2 with this deck. I finished 22nd on day 1 before the scenario that happened on day 2 happened. And yeah, it wasn't my water deck like I normally like to play, which is much more controlly. It was a really swingy variance day, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I hope everybody else had a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed this deck breakdown. I still have token packs and token sleeves that I did not hand out. All of them I tried. I gave whenever somebody asked. I gave one per person, and even a couple people I gave 2 per person because they really wanted them. But so be on the lookout for those in the future at future events, and I appreciate all you guys' support. And peace until next time. Look out for the water tower preparation duels practicing between me and Anish coming soon. Peace.